Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Lord Chancellor must be living in a parallel universe if she's giving herself a pat on the back today. The truth is that she's completely lost control of the justice system. She sat on her hands for weeks. She took 7 days to gather her thoughts and put her views in writing to the Sentencing Council. Her incompetence took this down to the wire. Magistrates and judges were only updated by the press office of the Sentencing Council at midday today that the guidelines they were due to come into force had in effect been suspended. That raises the very real prospect that magistrates and judges sitting from 10 a.m. this morning were unaware of this chaotic last-minute change and did sentence people under guidelines that the Justice Secretary herself has conceded are two-tier. But it gets worse. In that very email to thousands of judges and magistrates sent just 90 minutes ago, the Sentencing Council state, and I quote, "We remain of the view that the guidelines are necessary and appropriate." Confusion reigns. They're being told one thing by the Lord Chancellor and another by the Sentencing Council. Who really is in charge here? Yet again, the Justice Secretary has been humiliated and undermined by activist judges seeking to undermine the will of this place, our Parliament. Her authority has been shredded. She is being treated as a two-tier, second-tier Justice Secretary. Madam Deputy Speaker, this was entirely preventable if the Justice Secretary had simply put party politics to one side and just backed our bill weeks ago to restore accountability and empower her to actually control justice policy. But the Labour Party blocked it. If the Prime Minister has been tricked into sitting at the front of the Docklands Light Railway thinking that he's in charge, as his Chief of Staff mocked him for the other day, the Lord Chancellor has chosen to sit there in the passenger seat, allowing the judiciary to take charge. She's decided to be undecided. She's resolved to be irresolute, all-powerful to be impotent. Even after this complete shambles, she won't even re-establish ministerial oversight. We're told via frantic press briefings that her bill, which we haven't even seen yet, will surgically remove this two-tier sentencing guidelines. But this doesn't tackle the root cause of the problem at all, which is a legal quango that is activist, which holds views completely divergent to the public, to Parliament, and now we're told to the government. Unless she follows the formula of our bill, MPs on this side produced will be back here time and again to unwind the next piece of madness coming out of the Council. Take the Sentencing Council's immigration guidelines that water down sentences for immigration offences below the 12-month threshold for automatic deportation. If published, it will mean hundreds of illegal migrants and foreign national offenders will avoid deportation every single year. It will blow a hole in border security. It even waters down the maximum life sentence for people smugglers legislated for just under a year ago. It completely disregards parliamentary sovereignty. At our last exchange, the Justice Secretary said there would be no two-tier justice on her watch. Well, there it is. And it is worse than that. On the 2nd of January, her own department, not the Sentencing Council, her own department published guidance ordering the prioritisation of bail for ethnic minorities and transgender people, continuing a practice introduced under Gordon Brown. And contrary to the misinformation peddled by her press office, it produced new guidance on pre-sentencing reports that have been forced for months, which state probation officers should consider the culture of an offender and whether they have suffered, and I quote, intergenerational trauma from historical events. Well, this is cultural relativism, which violates the rule of law and puts the British public at risk. And this time, nobody is to blame other than her.
Absolutely disgraceful. There's no other word for it. Shabana Mahmood, Labour's so-called Justice Secretary, has just proven beyond any doubt that neither she nor her party can be trusted when it comes to defending law, order, or basic common sense. After weeks of outrage, loud, performative, theatrical outrage about the sheer injustice of two-tier sentencing, she was finally given the opportunity to do something about it. RobertJenrick, to his immense credit, tabled a bill that would have actually empowered her to put an end to this absurd and unjust policy. It would have handed her the legal authority to make good on her fiery speeches and impassioned condemnations. And what did she do when the moment came? She refused to support it. She turned her back on the very thing she claimed to oppose. That's not just cowardice. That's calculated political deceit. This isn't some minor procedural disagreement. This is a defining moment. Mahmood, standing at the crossroads between integrity and party politics, chose the latter. She proved that all her outrage was nothing more than hollow theater, a shallow performance designed to manipulate public sentiment without ever intending to follow through with action. When push came to shove, she folded, and in doing so, she exposed the Labour Party's true nature. A machine more obsessed with optics, narrative control, and ideological pandering than with real, tangible justice. Mahmood's hypocrisy is nauseating, but unfortunately it's not surprising. Labour has made an art of moral grandstanding while doing absolutely nothing of substance when it matters most. Her refusal to back Jenrick's bill is a slap in the face to every British citizen who wants a fair and functioning justice system. It tells victims of crime that their suffering is secondary to political maneuvering. It tells criminals that if they tick the right identity boxes, they might just get a softer sentence. Is that what justice looks like? Is that equality under the law? Of course not. It's ideological corruption wrapped in the language of compassion. Labour has no interest in fixing the broken justice system. They'd rather tinker around the edges, release statement after statement, and hold sanctimonious press conferences while doing nothing to address the root of the problem. Mahmood had a rare chance to break that cycle. Jenrick gave her an open goal, a chance to do the right thing. Instead, she bottled it. She chose party loyalty over public safety. She chose political point scoring over principle. She chose to maintain the status quo, a disgraceful, dangerous status quo, because changing it would mean confronting the failed ideology that her entire party is built upon. Let's not forget, this is the same Labour Party that constantly lectures the country about fairness and equality. Yet here they are, actively defending a system where two people who commit the exact same crime can receive wildly different sentences depending on their background. What kind of warped version of equality is that? It's not justice. It's discrimination in disguise. And Shabana Mahmood just made herself the poster child for it. The British people deserve better than this. They deserve a justice system rooted in actual equality, one that treats all criminals the same, regardless of race, gender, religion, or identity. They deserve politicians who act on their words, not hide behind them. Mahmood and the Labour Party have made it crystal clear they will not deliver that. They will preach, they will pander, they will posture, but they will not protect, they will not reform, they will not lead. So yes, this is disgraceful. It's revealing. And it's damning. Shabana Mahmood has exposed herself as just another puppet of a party that talks about justice while sabotaging it behind closed doors. She's not a champion of the people. She's a cautionary tale about what happens when spineless politics trumps moral clarity. And Labour, they are a party rotting from the inside, incapable of reform and unworthy of the public's trust. Britain needs spine. It needs truth. It needs action. And Labour has none of those things.